to another edition of the Student Fyre podcast, live from the Speak Fyre studio. My name is Bobby Berg. I'm a motivational speaker for schools, and I'm here to help you live your best life today. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of Student Fyre, live from the Speak Fyre studio. My name is Bobby Berg. I'm your host, and y'all, I'm so pumped to have you back this week. How have you been? For my visual learners, how did this week go for you? How did last week go for you? Sorry, my bad. Did everyone actually do the homework? Did everyone use some of these strategies? Well, if you haven't, go give last week's episode a listen. For those of you that did, give me some feedback. Seriously, hop on my Instagram, slide in those DMs, slide on TikTok. I don't care what you do. Just get a hold of me. Let me know how it went. Let me know if the tips helped. Now for this week, listen closely. This week, we're going to be talking about our auditory learners. Yes, this week, it is all about the sound. It is about voicing things. This week is my auditory learners. So, again, let's take it back one step. For anyone that's new tuning into Student Fyre, thank you for finding the podcast. Thank you for tuning in with us. You're wonderful. I want you to go on Google and type in "How do I learn?" and take an aptitude test to figure out what your learning style is. We're going to be going over all 7 learning styles over the next few weeks, and I want to make sure that everyone is listening to the right information. Anyway, back to our auditory learners. You thrive in this element. You thrive on this podcast. You thrive where you can listen to information when it's being given to you. For you, hearing music is easy. You remember songs. You remember conversations. You're the person that can remember a joke from like 4 months ago that just passed over everyone. You're like, oh yeah, verbatim. Boom, here's exactly what was said. Nailing the joke. When a lot of people are like, how do you do that? For you, remembering auditory things just makes so much sense. So how do we apply this to the classroom? Well, it depends. First and foremost, you got to work in a quiet environment. Why? Because it doesn't really make a lot of sense for you to be in a super loud, noisy environment where there's music going on or there's people talking over there. For you, you're going to pick up on all of those things. And when it comes to studying, that's really going to throw you off a little bit. So make sure you're in a quiet environment. And for me, I find it really helpful to be in an environment where I can talk openly and not have it be a distraction for anybody else. For me, a lot of the time that's in my own office or that's in a public group setting where there's a bunch of people studying and we're in a collaborative environment. Oddly enough, for a lot of people that don't like group work, for auditory learners, group work is perfect because you can oftentimes talk openly. You can discuss things. You can talk your way through what you're learning and not have to feel like, oh man, I gotta be really quiet here. No. In this, you are allowed to thrive in your openness and your talking and what you're able to do with your audio. Now, next, go to class. College students, I am looking right at you. Don't look away. Don't shy away in the back of your seat. And for those of you smirking, knock it off. Really, go to class. Why? Not just because you need to go to class. What is your teacher normally doing? Lecturing. What is a lecture? It is verbal audio. It is words being said to you. That's what you need. So go to class, make sure you're in those lectures, make sure you're paying attention. You're not doodling in your notebook, you're not on Facebook. First off, stop that. Second off, you're really paying attention. Now, a lot of people do this. They go, Bobby, well, what do I do once I heard my professor talk to me, but I don't really remember what they said. I got you. I'm already a step ahead of you. What do you have in your pocket? Or, for most of you, what are you listening to this on? Your phone. What does your phone have? A voice recorder. Record your lectures. Record your professor giving their lecture. Now, very first step, please, out of respect for both yourself and the academic institution you're at and your professor, go up to them and have a one-on-one conversation and say, hey, I found out that I'm an auditory learner. Would it be okay with you if I recorded your lectures? Now, they might say yes. They might be like, yeah, that's fine. They might also say no. If they say no, you're going to have to find a way to remember what they're saying. You're going to have to really engage. Because if they say, no, I don't want you recording their lecture, then you can't record their lecture. And as bad as that is, it's not bad, it's unfortunate more so. You're just going to have to find a way around it. And that's what Student Fyre is all about. I'm trying to give you all tips to help you find ways around these issues. Okay? But really, if your professor lets you, record your lectures. They're super helpful. I do this all the time, be it, it doesn't matter if I'm, taking a class myself or if I'm getting like speaking coaching, or if I'm coaching someone else, I record all of my information. And, sometimes people go, well, why do you do this? Because you're not going to remember everything that happens. I want you to be able to go back and verbatim go, oh yeah, that's exactly what they said. Now, what happens when you're assigned a reading assignment, right? Teacher says, hey, read chapter 15 for tomorrow's lecture. All right, cool. You're not a visual learner. You're not really good with this whole reading bit because it's too quiet for you. Well, change it up. Open your book and talk, read out loud. I know it seems really elementary, like, Bobby, I don't need to read out loud. Read out loud because that's how you learn. Yeah, it's you teaching yourself, but guess what? That's okay. Take the chapters and read them out loud, word for word. I do this all the time. Also, so what happens when you get to a graphic? Like, say you have a picture or a graph or something of that nature. What do? It's a visual format that you're looking at, right? Well, how do you make sense of it? So, sidebar here. There's this app called Be My Eyes where you can volunteer to help visually impaired people with their daily tasks. There's this guy who, I can't name him, but I've been working with him for the past few weeks now, and, he'll ring on Be My Eyes, and the app will go off and say, hey, this person needs to get a hold of you. And I'll open it, and it's normally something simple like, hey, I know there are a couple shirts in front of me, and I really have an idea of what I want to wear, but the fabric's the same, I can't really tell which is which color. I'll be like, oh yeah, man, it's the one on your left, here. And I'll describe to him exactly what it looks like. Now, he's having me look at a visual thing, a color that he can't see. So I'm sitting there having to describe exactly what it's like to him. Going, it's kind of like this other shirt that you have that's this fabric, that's this, and here's how it's like this one, but it's also like this other one. And he can kind of make up this picture in his own head through the auditory signals that I'm giving him. You can do the exact same thing when you have a graph that you're looking at in your paper, or, in your reading. You can look at it and say, okay, so say there's a pie chart in front of you. Instead of just saying, oh, well, here's a pie chart that's broken into 3 parts, and this half says this part, this third says this part, and this third says this part. Yeah, we're just going to skip over the fact that I said half and then a third. It's fine. Things happen in post-production. But, instead of just looking at it, you could say to yourself, okay, so pretend you're teaching a class. You could say, okay, with this pie chart, this third over here that's in this color represents this, and with that means blah, blah, blah. And then this other one means this. And as you're explaining this and you're talking this out loud, you're much more able to explain what you're saying. Like, you'll actually understand what you are saying better by describing it in depth. Thanks for hanging around for that sidebar. For those long-term listeners of Student Fyre, you know that sometimes we go on sidebars and we don't ever bring it back. We're getting better, y'all. But for real, for those of you that are auditory learners, I want you to really, really take the time. It's a little difficult for you because you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to take the time to actually go, okay, how do I do this? My professor said I can't record my lectures, but listening to them helps me out. Something else that you could do with that is you could just sit there and listen to them and what they're saying, and then if you have another class coming up, you'll have to adjust this, but you could, right after class, go back to your dorm room and start talking through the lecture however you remember it. Take notes as you're going through, write them down of the main points that your professor covered, and then hop in your dorm room and talk through the whole lecture for 30 minutes. And whatever you don't remember that's, on your notepad, you have to go back and figure that out on your own. But it's a really good way to reinforce the information that you just heard, that to make sure you know what you're talking about versus just saying, I think I got this, right? So, I know that was a lot of information. For those auditory learners, I know this is right up your alley because this is your learning style. Go back and listen to this again. Listen to it twice. Listen to it 3 times. And figure out ways that you could use this in your day-to-day. Because again, I'm here for you. I want to help you get through this semester as seamlessly as possible. I want you to take next semester by the face and show it what's what. And I want you to make this academic year the best year you've ever dreamed of having. I don't want you to just dream about it anymore, y'all. We talked about this way, way, way back last year, back in March. We said, hey, we're not doing this just to do it. We're not talking about this just to talk. We want to apply these things because we're going to be better than we were last year. We're going to be the best student that we can be. so we can help others be the best that they can be. So again, review these notes, get in a quiet environment, go to your lectures and listen to them, record them if you're able to, play it back, reinforce the information, talk your way through your chapters, talk your way through the graphs, talk your way through your notes out loud. That's all I got for you. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. Y'all, I hope this was helpful. If it was, hit me up on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or Facebook. Let me know what you thought. Better yet, hop in the reviews on the podcast you're listening to this on and leave a review there. I check all of them, and I will respond to everything that I can. Y'all, I love hearing from you. It's the highlight of my day. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. I hope you are rocking everything that you do. I hope nothing's getting in your way, and for whatever does get in your way, I know you're going to find a way to overcome it like you always do. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace! We are Speak Fyre. Who are we? We are a collective of inspirational, motivational, life-guiding speakers here to help you make your best life available and real today. For everyone that's looking for anything and everything leadership, you have to check out my guy, Michael Gingras, over at Leadership Fyre. For my youth that are coming up, for those of you that have questions that need answers, go hit up Sean B. He's the host of Young Fyre, killing the game every single Monday. For those of you that have questions that go a little deeper, for those of you that need that internal fire inside of you, not just sparked, but you need those flames fanned, go check out Aisha Thomas with Internal Fire. For my fathers, y'all, you are the real MVP. Go check out my guy Jody Cedric, the host of Father's Fire. For my champions, for my people that need to be the champion of not only their day, but their entire life, man, you gotta check out my man Neil Legend over at Champion Fire. For my students, doesn't matter if we're talking elementary, middle school, high school, college, my graduate students, all of you, for everything student empowerment, student leadership, and student productivity, tune in to Student Fyre with me, your host, Bobby Berg. We are Speak Fyre, live every Monday morning, 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You gonna wake up with us? Let's get it. Whew, that was another awesome episode of the Student Fyre podcast. Thank y'all for sticking around for this long, but I got a question for you. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? See, when I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions, like how do I record an episode? How do I get my show to apps? Like, do I have to do it individually, or can I just have one place that does everything for me? And most importantly, how do I make money from my podcast? Is that even an option? Well, honestly, y'all, your answer is Anchor. Anchor is the one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it is 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors that want to advertise on your podcast. Yes, you. That means you can get paid to make the podcast. You can get paid to podcast the right way. In fact, that's exactly what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. If you want to get down on this, if you want to make your podcast a reality and you want your success and your word to be a thing, man, you already know. Hop over to Anchor and give it a start. You won't regret it. Catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.
I am excited to bring you my new book, Trendsetter, 7 Steps to Radically Stand Out to Be the Best You. This book details my journey of coming to the United States and being excited to embrace the American culture. But unfortunately, my culture was not accepted, and I found myself being bullied as a young girl. And in this process, I decided that I wanted to disconnect from my culture to be more accepted into American culture. And through that process, I got so depressed from trying to fit in that I attempted suicide my freshman year in high school. So this book talks about the journey of what I did to become radically transformed to be the strong woman I am today. This book is something that's really going to enable the reader to understand and embrace who they are, embrace what makes them special, and become radically transformed. Get your copy today at becomingatrendsetter.com. Again, that is becomingatrendsetter.com, or check it out at my website at aishathomas.org.